Billiken fans, welcome back. It is Zach Miller and Peter Hale. It's the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, thank you so much for listening or watching. If you are watching on YouTube, and I can tell when people when we're talking about the non-revs more because our YouTube views go up comparatively to the audio. I think people I think if you're watching it for the first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, even if you're not really on YouTube that much, even if you only use YouTube sparingly, subscribe and comment if you do use YouTube quite a bit. It does help the channel grow and get out to more Billiken fans. But it is season 5. We're almost done with this season. Actually, we're kind of done with this season. But once again, the Midtown Madness Podcast is brought to you by 2 Men in a Garden. 2 Men in a Garden has been with us almost since the beginning of this show. They have helped us grow in many ways. And before that, they were my absolute favorite local salsa. I've had that 2 Men in a Garden cantina style medium sitting in my fridge. I can't believe it's made it this long. I've exercised incredible self-control to not finish it like a box of cereal. It's still sitting there, still it's Old Faithful in the fridge. It's there when I'm ready for it, and it's always delicious. Whether you like it mild, medium, or hot, chunky, or cantina style, 2 Men in a Garden has you covered. You can get all their products online, and you can get it all sent to you for $9.99 nationwide flat rate shipping. Visit them online, 2meninagarden.com, to shop your favorite flavors and learn more about their Kitchen Hub STL. You can also follow them on social media to keep up with all their updates on Instagram and Twitter at 2mensalsa. Pete, thank God for the Cardinals right now. Because without the Billikens, with the Billiken season ending, we were heading for it looked like we were headed for a sports desert here in St. Louis.
Yeah, we're not getting much help from City right now, from City SC. Our Billikens are just about done for the year athletically. We'll get into that, but you're right, Zach. The Cardinals got hot at just the right time, giving us a little lifeline.
Yeah. Speaking of baseball, Billiken Baseball completed their season as they fell in I don't know how to say it. We'll call it the semifinals of the A10 Championship.
I think that's technically what it was, the semifinal.
Yeah. They fall. Unfortunately, and we're going to get into it. I think injuries kind of just caught up with this team, and they unfortunately could not complete the run or the double in diamond sports to make the NCAA tournament. But as the tournament was kicking off, the A10, seemingly a day late, announced their all-conference honors. And the Billikens had 3 or 4 players, 1 defensive player of the year. I think we all know who that is. The 2 on the second team all-conference, and then an all-rookie team member who I think both of us have become very fond of this season.
For sure, Zach. Yeah, Ethan Sitzman was that defensive player of the year. Not much doubt to that one. We did have Riley Ifrig and Owen Kelly make second team all conference, and then Hank Gomrick made the all rookie team. So Hammer and Hank, making his conference already. What I will say, Zach, that's right. So no first teamers this year. Just the 2 second teamers. 1 rookie. I think you can really look at this team and say, like, for the team that finished 3rd overall, not to have any first teamers and not to have a huge imprint on these all conference teams, this was really a good team effort of a season, right? Like this was supposed to be kind of a transitional year. We lost a lot last year, and I don't know what the expectations were, but I think you can say SLU kind of outperformed them for sure in terms of the record and where they fell in the standings this year.
I think actually what the most shocking part of this all is the 18-year-old that uses Tokyo Drift by the Teriyaki Boys as his walk-up song is younger than the movie itself. and that's unsettling, Pete.
Oh, I had not made that connection.
I
That is a little bit unsettling.
the movie came
Tokyo
out.
Drift, the third one.
Yes, it's the third one, and it came out in 06.
He's younger than '06. Is that
Yeah,
wow?
I mean,
Wow.
19.
That's
I mean, he's likely.
yeah.
It's very likely that he is younger than 19, or at least
So
younger
he's
than
a
19 years that the movie is.
yeah. Wow. 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 I had not made that connection before. But
That's disgusting.
thank you for making me feel good this morning. Yeah, that's
That's. I'm trying to think of a good comparison there. That would be like an 88, a sports movie that came out in
so
88.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh, I think so. So
like
Hoosiers is a
Field
little
of,
bit old.
yeah, like Field of Dreams. Or
Yeah, I
was
think that
that?
89, 88 may have been Rocky Four. So
Yeah.
right
So
around
like,
there.
so Eye of the Tiger is my walk-up song
Yeah, or
or
whatever.
whatever.
Whatever
Yeah.
would have been specific to Rocky Four. For me, it may be the Chariots of Fire music.
Okay.
I think would be about the right timeline.
Let's get into this tournament because it was an exciting start to the tournament. It looked like, it was one of those starts where you're watching it and you're saying, okay, okay, things are starting to go this team's way if
Yeah,
the pitching can hold up. And that's a big if because you go into this tournament. Obviously, you lost. Oh God, who's the guy that Cherico? They lose Ben Cherico early in the season, so you're down a starter. You lose Jack
yeah,
Weber in the last game of the season with a strained oblique, and after four or
yeah.
five, this team doesn't have much pitching at all, and it was kind of prophetic to look at it that way.
Yeah, it was, Zach. So you look at the overall run in this tournament, and you're right. It just felt like they were about two arms short of where they needed to be. And so you essentially had the last two games becoming staff games, and it was against the two best teams in the conference. And that's just not what you wanted, right? You wanted to ride a couple more strong starting pitching performances, and we just didn't get that. But we'll start out on Tuesday the 20th, where SLU beat six seed Fordham. SLU has the three seed, by the way. Beat six seed Fordham 10-2. SLU got out to a quick 7-0 lead in the first two innings, and that was pretty much it for this one, Zach.
Yeah, it was an easy win, and it was nice to sit back. And of course, we're talking about college baseball here, so you can only sit back so far. But
Right.
it was an RBI single from Brendan Stressler, and then Max McGuire goes yard on a no doubter. I mean, he knew it immediately within the first three steps. He had his arm in the air.
Yep.
Stressler gets a 2-run homer of his own in the second after Riley Ifrig hit a 2-run double.
Yeah, and each of them would send one more run home in this game. Stressler's was on a fielder's choice in the fourth. He led SLU on this one with four RBIs and scored twice. And then Ifrig's other one came on an RBI single in the sixth. He was 3 for 3 with three RBIs and a run. Just really good performances out of those two. Fordham did get one back in the seventh. Austin Newig put the lead back to 9 with an RBI double in the eighth, and then the Rams got that one back in the ninth. But it really didn't matter at that point. Just a really good day at the plate from the Bills, especially the few we mentioned.
Yeah, and you mentioned a great day, and it was a great day for Josh Cunningham, who was dealing in this one.
Yeah,
He threw 6 shutout innings. He struck out 6 while allowing just 3 hits and a walk. That this is, there are many ways to look at a conference tournament as opposed to as it pertains to pitching strategy. And in this one, it's clear that Hendo was of the mindset that we're going to throw our big arms and we're going to figure out the rest once we get there.
yeah, I think that's the way you got to be, especially when you're down a couple arms. There's no need to think about the matchups and stuff like that too much, and just ride your good arms while you got them. And that's what Cunningham was in this one.
Yeah, you kind of we'll get to it because I think we're gonna kind of discuss it more. Against the 2 seed on Friday, but there's a you're basically saying we're going to go into that semifinal and final round without having Jack Weber or Ben Sherko. You're saying, okay, we're going to trust our offense to hit the piss out of the ball, and we're going to trust the number one defense in the conference to defend and do what they've done all season. Whereas you could throw a staff game in those early games. I think Rhode Island playing it being this Rhode Island getting the bye and the second game being against SLU. I think Rhode Island has the benefit of sitting their number one starter, skipping that number one starter and going with their second in the opening round so that they can throw their number one in that semifinal. But let's move on first to that second game, which was maybe a top 5 Billiken baseball game as far as just general epicness. And that's a 5-3 win against a school that I have learned to despise greatly. 2-seed George Mason on Wednesday the 21st. And this is, and I say I despise them, and it's a rivalry that has built, and it can almost be traced back to when George Mason accused Hendrickson of stealing signs over ESPN Plus.
Yeah. Yeah, and having the same coach, still there and everything means that like he's always going to have that as kind of a motivator, kind of hating these guys and pulling out all the stops, and maybe his tone changes a little bit, even if a lot of his players now aren't necessarily familiar with that. To be able to, or in a firsthand experience sort of way, to be able to use that as extra motivation, I think is pretty great. But Zach, you're right. This one had all the drama. Down 3-1 heading into the ninth, SLU loaded the bases.
The entire game. No, well, the entire game. I'm texting you. I think it was at some point in the middle of the game. I mean, they just were not hitting the baseball, and you're sitting, and I'm like, this fucking baseball team, man. Yeah. Like they were just driving me insane because you come off that win of 10-2, and then you just don't really get much help at the plate. That is until the ninth. Again, SLU loads the bases, and you're watching it, and you're like, okay, I kind of see where this is going. It's one of those where we talk about college baseball, getting to the bullpen, and Mason's starter was so dominant, it almost felt like it had to happen, like the drop off had to come, and boy did it when they went to this pitcher in the ninth, because he loads the bases right away.
Yeah, it sure did. Yep. Yeah, it sure did. And then Ifrig comes to the plate with one out, and you're thinking like, okay, one away, we got 3 on. If we can get this to at least a tie, I feel pretty good about that. And Ifrig just decided to take the drama out of it. Hit a grand slam to right center on the first pitch he saw.
No doubt.
Beautiful piece of hitting. Yep, he saw it right away. Was aggressive. I love the decision to just go for it on that first pitch, and had the luxury of doing that with one out. So I think that was a really savvy piece of hitting.
To pull a line from an old Jimbo 5 post on Billikens.com, Riley Ifrig pulls his balls out and shows everybody how big they are.
He sure did.
It really was. That wasn't a clutch hit. That was, I'm better than you, and I know it.
Yep.
It was.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, he really did.
It was. He hit that like somebody hitting BP, like one of those videos where they test bats. Have you ever seen these YouTube videos where these like guys, they like do a thing where they hit with like the old bats, but anyway, that was exactly what this swing and that pitch. It just looked like a nice lollipop in there, and Ifrig just sent it to the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, incredible piece of hitting. Owen Kelly went
Yeah.
5 1/3
He was
innings, gave up all
fantastic
3 runs. Yep.
despite
But
giving up
Charlie
three
Weber,
runs.
he was good despite that. Charlie Weber came on for the last 3 2/3 and held them scoreless, getting the win. The other run that SLU had earlier in the game came on a sac fly from Brendan Stressler. Pretty wound up being pretty crucial there. So, the great team effort here. You got what you needed from the mound, and just one great hit after we were getting to their relief pitcher there.
I think
Really satisfying wins.
yeah, but I think you're selling short that final inning for Charlie Weber because it got a little hairy there. I believe the bases were loaded, bringing up Quinn Evers or something like that. What's it? I don't. George Mason's big hitter steps to the plate with the bases loaded. You've seen so many of these watching the softball tournament and the baseball tournaments where, especially the softball, you talked about the hitter for Arkansas where the bases are loaded and they got nowhere to put her and you have to pitch her.
Yeah.
It's just like Abby Mallow stepping to the plate with less than with less than 2 outs. It is incredibly dangerous, especially in college baseball where the pitching, once you get past that starting 3 or 4, it drops off in quality. But Charlie Weber comes in, I think on the the Mason hitter fouls off the first pitch, and then the second pitch, it's up the middle. Our guy, defensive player of the year, Ethan Sitzman, is playing exactly where he hits the ball, right behind second base. And they turn 2, and that's the game. I mean, it was stressful there in the 9th inning.
It was so it was 2 guys on.
Okay.
Luckily, they weren't loaded, and it was James Quinn Irons is his name. So he was the one who grounded into that double play after getting into the the 0-1 hole there. But yeah, he was a really good player. We would see him produce again later in this tournament as we get into. But yeah, you're right. SLU really, they got some clutch performance there, both defensively and on the mound in that last inning, to get out of a jam against who is a very good hitter. So yeah, no question, I did sell it a little bit short there.
The Billikens, they would turn around and drop that semifinal 8-2 to the number 1 seed Rhode Island on Friday the 23rd. And I think this game is frustrating for a few reasons. And I think we're going to talk about it, obviously. But you have freshman Ty Holman, who comes into the game and throws 3 fantastic innings despite giving up 2 runs. You have Richie Simprick with an outstanding pitching performance on the mound. And you have 2 home runs late in this game by Rhode Island that were by the grace of Mother Nature. I haven't seen balls carry like that since Denver in the 90s.
Yeah. This one, Zach. So they're tied 2-2 entering the 8th, right? So then Rhodey hits that first one, as you say, about as generous a weather as they possibly could have had.
And every time SLU would hit one deep, the ball would die. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all, there was a lot of timing involved in that very lucky timing for them. So they're up 4-2 and then blew it open with 4 more in the 9th. Again, on another home run that just carried. And it's one of those games where you're like, this is about the closest 8-2 game I've ever seen. It just really did not feel like that kind of game, being so close for so long. Kamehu Sanchez hit an RBI double, followed by an RBI single from Hayden Moore. So that's where the 2 runs came from. I want to say, were those in the 4th or 5th to tie it? Because Rhodey got on the board first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
he was awesome in this game, by the way. Kamehu Sanchez was fantastic in this game.
He really was. He was
great in the tournament.
He's one of those players who He was really good in the tournament. And I was just going to say he's played like his best ball of the season lately, right? It feels like one of those guys who we haven't said his name as much this season, but lately he's really come up big and played well. So good
Yeah.
stuff from the senior there.
Well, the
Like
thing
you
about
said,
him, the thing about him is you look at his stats, and of course, there are going to be the baseball guys that want to look into the deeper stats. But I'm a simpleton. I watch Colin Surrey on ESPN Plus. All I hear is he's got a 191 average, right?
right?
But he gets on base. He is Jonah Hill in Moneyball's wet dream.
Yeah, low expense guy who gets on base for
Yes.
you. And yeah, and who came up big in this tournament. He was really good. Like you said, Ty Holman got off to a really good start here, but did wind up giving up that those first two runs. Richie Simprick, again, 5 innings, really solid, kept them scoreless into the eighth. And then gave up that first home run that carried, and then started the ninth, got charged with another run before Salazar came on and gave up the final 3 runs on another home run that carried. So frustrating game, Zach, to get so much of a good performance out of your staff and just for brief moments got away from them. Again, everything about this game, the composure of this game was such that it was closer in the way that it played out than what the final score shows, and so that's just a really frustrating game against the top team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, this is a team that should not. That again, they weren't supposed to be here. We knew that you get past 2 games, it was going to be a staff game. It was going to be about out hitting your opponent, and unfortunately, this game they still had a shot. The pitching was good. You had a very good staff adjacent game. It wasn't your you threw 3 pitchers. You didn't throw 6 or 7, right? So it was again an outstanding performance and exactly what you needed on the defensive side. It's just that you could not get it going as Rhode Island threw their ace essentially. They skipped his start for the first round. It was like a Neho or what? I can't remember his name. But yeah, he was fantastic. The Billikens just couldn't get anything across the plate. And speaking of not getting anything across the plate, they turned around. They had to turn around right away. This is a question I had: is SLU played in the second game of the day. The first game of the day was George Mason against Dayton, and I was curious why they were able to play the early game, get some rest before the evening game. Billikens had to turn around and play almost immediately. I believe it was like an hour and 15 minutes. But they turn around and they lose a 16-2 decision. And again, this is what we're talking about. This game could have been 27-22, right? It could have been easily. You have 2 teams that are deep in a conference tournament throwing their staffs at this game and hoping for something. It wasn't even close. Mason got out to a 9-0 lead in that first inning. They added 3 more in the second, 2 in the third, 2 more in the fifth. It was 16-0 by the time SLU got on the board with a Chase Beatty RBI double, followed by a sac fly from Moore. Steven Hernandez, Chase Minor, Justin Lee all struggled in this one with rough outings on the mound. Carter Kelsey allowed just 1 hit and hit a batter in the last 3 innings. Not too shabby. But again, game was over by that point.
No, he was good.
Tough to see, tough way for this one to end. But I mean, you look at this and you say, this is a rebuilding year, and you get to the semifinals with 2 of your 4 starters injured. I mean, hell of a performance by the Billikens in this one, in this tournament, and a beautiful location to play the tournament.
Yeah, it was great, Zach. Capital One Park is in Tysons, Virginia. This is where Georgetown, who's not a very good baseball team, plays their home games. But I thought it was a really nice venue, and I think this is the second year in a row they've played there, right? I think you agree that this is a pretty ideal baseball setting.
Yeah, I think we need to show the audience. So let's go ahead and pull up some info on Capital One Park. Yeah, I just want to get into this ballpark because it really is a beautiful place, and the reason I like it is because it is the perfect size for St. Louis University baseball, and I think that you
Yeah.
could take the pieces of this, and you don't necessarily have to do the whole thing. There's a lot to this park that's excessive that you don't need at SLU, right? And I think I think, but I think there are things that are perfect for SLU. Like, look at this right here. So we're looking at it. If you look up here, right,
Yeah.
that's a light rail. That's a train rail overpass. Like, if you think about it, think about how close Herman Stadium is to SLU baseball. It's
Right.
right there. So with this design, I mean, you're looking at it saves space. It's a very, compact. It fits right in there. And I think this is something you could absolutely put, where the current baseball stadium is. I think it would fit right in. It's only about 300 here. And to be honest with you, Peter, I think they could cut this down.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah, I think it's a great. No, Zach, I was just saying, I think it's a great setup. You're right in that space is kind of the mother of invention here, and getting them a little bit steeper grandstand behind the plate than you're probably used to. But it's very modern. You're right up on the action. You've got the whole thing blocked by a net. You've got the very like new looking press box that's got a really close, perfect angle on the action. You certainly wouldn't need anything more than this at SLU, but that right there is gorgeous. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, again, you could cut off. You don't need 300 seats. You could cut it down to 200. You could include the bleachers over here. Again, it's 350, I think, down the line. You could cut that down to 150. You don't need the turf. I think this was done for 14 million. It's done by the Little Group. But yeah, I think it's something that you could easily fit right in with what SLU currently has. You don't need to make any major structural changes. Again, the field's fine. I don't think they need a new field yet. But you've got that press box. Everything's small. We do like small but pretty. Like that's I think that and with comfortable amenities, right? You've got the overhangs, which again, take it or leave it. I don't care. I think the overhangs would be better, obviously, with the St. Louis weather. But again, it's not that. Look, you've got bullpens, you've got batting cages, you've got sunken dugouts, full back seating, and overhead sunshades. Again, this is exactly what you're looking for a stadium for SLU. And I mean, you've got this back here, which I think is cool as well. This is kind of the entrance, and you see the light rail. But again, this is something you could do at SLU. There's that entire area of grass right there behind home plate, behind that grandstand. And you could do this. And then, down the line, they have a nice patio here. Again, this would be great. You could do this and turn it into, and you could co-op it for soccer, right?
Yeah.
You've got space behind. I know kids are back there playing right now, but I mean, I know that turf area is used a lot by soccer, but I think this could fit right in there. And I mean, you don't even need this, right? You don't need it, but I think it would look good, and I think it would be a good idea. Obviously, again, a press box, a standard press box, called Gavin Myers, Chris. call the DC office president, get him on the horn. And I mean, look, it's got, again, 14 million. I think you could probably get it you could probably cut a lot of that off. Again, you don't need a new field. You don't need a new wall. You don't need the party deck out here in left field. But I think just giving fans a nice place to sit, a comfortable place to sit, some static concession stands, and a press box for your employees to stay warm in those early spring games is not that tall of an ask, I don't think.
No, I don't either, Zach. I don't really have a whole lot to add. I just think this is, you're right. It's the ideal size, configuration, all that kind of stuff for SLU baseball. We've got the space. I think probably in addition to what you said about some of the stuff in here that we wouldn't need at SLU, you're also talking about St. Louis versus Washington, D.C., cost. We don't have the structural sort of what word am I looking for? Limitation of having the light rail right there, so you've got more room to kind of set up and build, and it's an easier build. It's an easier job overall because you're not trying to squeeze it into a little space. So there's that too. So yeah, all of those reasons, I think you could definitely get that cost down from 14 quite a bit. And because this is so new, it's not like we're comparing it to something that was built in like 1995. So obviously, the construction costs are more comparable, chronologically. So yeah, it's great, Zach. It's great. Hopefully, we can see something like this in the relatively near future. I think it's a fairly reasonable thing to do.
Yep. I like it. It was just, it's such a nice facility. And I think Hendricks, I think Conoyer deserves something similar to this too. This is obviously a little like you could, 1/3 or 1/4 the size, right? But I think a good press box and some seating that fans aren't hurting their butts on metal bleachers anymore. I think we need to cut that shit out.
Yeah, for sure.
Pete, let's head over to men's basketball and talk about a new offer the Billikens have out to a Gary, Indiana product too. But by the way, every time I hear Gary, Indiana, I think of the movie Glory Road. One of the guys is
never seen it.
United Steel Mill Day Shift, Gary, Indiana. It's one of the players on the team. Town. Yeah, one of the players on the team is from Gary, Indiana. I can't remember which one it is. But anyway, tell me about this offer. I don't know why I brought that up.
Terrence Hayes Jr. is also from Gary, Indiana. He goes to Century High School. He's a 6'2" guard, kind of a combo guard, and he plays his AAU ball with Indiana Elite, which is an Adidas Three Stripes brand AAU program. He's a really dynamic left-handed guard, scores on 3 levels, good playmaker for his teammates, and he's kind of a stat sheet stuffer too. Rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, really active defender and rebounder for the position, plays super hard at both ends. He's a fun player to watch. He's got, college fan favorite written all over him. Right now, his other offers are Nevada, Missouri State, Valpo, Northern Illinois, IUI, and Youngstown State. So relatively early in his recruitment, I think he'll probably see those offers take off a little bit more. Missouri State actually was one who offered the day after SLU, about 4 days ago. So he's seeing his recruitment take off. He's got a ton of interest, by the way. So a lot of schools keeping an eye on him and just haven't pulled the trigger yet. But I think people will really like this kid, and I'm curious to see how this develops.
It was Harry Flournoy on that team, was from Gary, Indiana. It's a sappy movie. It's that awesome Disney sports movie that they would put out yearly after they released Miracle. They would do the PG-13.
Yeah, or PG.
Movie. Yeah,
right.
There is another offer here that I did not see.
It's not an offer, Zach. It's more just kind of a piece of news because there's a kid named Malachi Jordan who ESPN has rated as the number 7 overall player in the class of 2027. I think he's about equally high with the other recruiting services as well. He just transferred to Cardinal Ritter, which is just a couple blocks north of SLU's campus, as you know. He's from Nashville. He plays AAU for Brad Beal Elite. I think he was at Link before in Branson, that kind of basketball factory down there. Look, it's a long shot recruitment, but the way I look at it, it can't hurt to have a top 10 national player in the class of 27, who the guys who will be juniors this season, playing just walking distance from your campus. So, might as well go say hi while he's in the neighborhood. It's just another one to keep an eye on now that he's a local recruit and not just some 5-star down in Nashville who we might not have gotten involved with otherwise.
Let's hit the portal. It's still going on. I don't know when it'll stop. I just want it to all end. It's like the coaching carousel last year when we were sitting there just like obsessing over every little move. And we just wanted to end, except the portal is like, I'm tired of hearing about it. Let's move on.
So the good news for you is that it has slowed down to a trickle, and we only have 3 new names in the conference this week. I'm not even bothering with outgoing names anymore because who cares if Duquesne's 9th guy is now going to be the 7th guy at a school that nobody in St. Louis has ever gone to. So that kind of stuff we're just not going to bother with. But I will tell you, Fordham has 2 more players. One is Zarik Nutter, which is quite a name, from Georgia State. He averaged 14.2 points a game on 49.5% shooting, started his college career with 2 seasons at Northern Illinois and has 1 year left. So here's yet another pretty good scorer coming in to Fordham. They don't need the kind of production that Nutter gives them out of Marcus Green from Hawaii. Fordham will be his 4th school in 4 years after Sacramento State, Houston Christian, and then Hawaii. He averaged 7.3 a game for the Rainbow Warriors. He's the ultimate journeyman, a veteran depth piece. But as we just said, the Rams already have several scorers coming in. So what he is just kind of makes sense for their needs at this point, give you a little bit of depth. And then over at St. Bonaventure, Zach, they got Caden Charles, a D2 transfer out of North Georgia, who averaged 14.7 points a game on 46% shooting, about 37% from 3, though. He averaged 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block per game. Not bad for a 6'3 guard. The Bonnies were reportedly looking for more outside shooting, so he gives them that. He's not a super high volume 3-point shooter, with about 1/4 of his attempts coming from outside, but the 37% should more or less translate to D1. And I got to say, Zach, Bonaventure kind of has an intriguing collection of players, so it's going to be interesting to see if Schmidt can
make it. Don't give them credit. Why? Don't give them credit. I'm tired of hearing about
Woj is doing something right.
I'm so tired of hearing about freaking Woj.
The only question I have, Zach, is Schmidt obviously doesn't go very deep on the bench. That's always been a kind of a joke the rest of the conference has made about him. But now you've got a roster that kind of begs for a coach who's going to play like 9 or so deep. So that's what I really wonder is going to happen over at St. Bonaventure this year.
You know who we need to give credit to, though? 2 Men in the Garden, Pete.
Zach, you found some cantina style on the shelves recently, and I got to say, yesterday I was at Schnucks across from my parents' house, and same thing happened to me. Found some of that cantina style, and I want to also give people a heads up that when you're shopping for 2 Men in a Garden salsa, or just when you're shopping in general and in the salsa aisle, sometimes their stuff is not all in the same spot. Like if it's anything like the Schnucks in Richmond Heights, they had the cantina style on one shelf, and about 2 or 3 feet over and down on one shelf was the medium and mild. So they weren't all in one spot. What I'm telling you is you're gonna have to make sure you do a thorough look through of the salsa aisle to make sure you are finding our favorite 2 Men in a Garden salsa there. I was generous. I did leave some for everybody else.
It's very nice of you.
If you're going to go, yeah, thank you. I'm charitable like that, if nothing else. And so yeah, check them out at Schnucks or any of your other St. Louis area grocery stores. And if you're not local, if you're like me and you're normally not here, go to 2meninagarden.com. Take advantage of that $9.99 nationwide shipping. Inflation's hit everywhere else, but not there. So get on it, 2meninagarden.com.
Pete, let's head over to the track. Journey Amundson was selected for the NCAA first rounds in College Station, Texas on May 28th through the 31st. She will compete in the triple jump on Saturday. Her top mark is 12.81 meters, and she's ranked 35th entering the event. That distance is an all-time record at SLU, and she will officially be the last Billiken competing. Amundson's a two-time A10 triple jump champion. She came in 33rd last year at the NCAA first rounds in Fayetteville. If she advances, the NCAA championships will be June 11th through the 14th at Hayward Field. Where else but Eugene, Oregon? The top 12 from both the East and the West first round competitions will move on. On the women's soccer field, Emily Gaebe, well, I guess I should say off the women's soccer field, Emily Gaebe received the A10 postgraduate scholarship this season. It goes to one individual at each program, and she will pursue a master's degree in athletic training at SLU. Pete, that's going to do it for us. A programming note, we are going to move to Tuesday night recording, so Wednesday releases. We're going to try to do some interviews. I think we want to get back to interviews, Pete.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've got, we've had some sort of feelers out there to get some people on the show, some names that you'll all recognize. But we've just got to get those conversations back up and running. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I think people like that as kind of the off-season content that we put out. So yeah, Zach, I think we got to get back on those. All
right. Thank you all for sticking with us this year. It's been a ride as Billiken Athletics kind of comes to a close for the summer. So we will see you next week. Either next week or the week after. Who knows? We might take a minute. Nothing more than a week. We'll never leave you hanging more than a week. We promise that. Thank you all for listening. Pete, go Bills.
Go Bills.